Shabbat shalom, everyone. I hope you're doing well. This week's parsha is Ki Tisa, and Ki Tisa is well known as being the parsha where we have the sin of the golden calf. So the Jewish people have been freed from the land of Egypt. They're sojourning in the desert, and we stop at Har Sinai, where Moshe goes up to receive the Ten Commandments. And the Jewish people are stationed at the bottom of the mountain for 40 days. They have to wait a long time. In theory, perhaps they didn't know how long it was going to be. They've just experienced a really peak experience when it comes to life. They had the 10 plagues in Egypt. They were freed from slavery. The sea literally split. They walked across it. They've experienced a lot of things. We have to give them a little bit of grace. The Jewish people are at the bottom of the mountain. Moshe is up at the top, and they become really anxious, and they decide to build an idol. They need something to do, and so they build the golden calf. Okay, fine. They built the golden calf. Moshe comes down with the Ten Commandments. He sees this and he throws the tablets to the ground. He's so distressed to see this. But then he wants God to forgive the Jewish people. He says, if you don't forgive them, you can blot my name from this book, which is very loyal to Moshe. He's a good leader. He recognizes he has empathy. Perhaps he was angry in the moment, but he realized that he was wrong and he has empathy for the Jewish people. And this story, of course, is about second chances. Of course, it's about, finding meaning, whatever. There's a lot to this, but there's also a parallel to this parsha. It happens to be still the holiday of Purim. Purim started on Thursday night, and today it's Friday. It's still into Friday, and in Israel it's celebrated in Jerusalem at least until Sunday. So we're in the weekend of Purim, and so the idea of Purim. We talk about joy and celebration. The month of Adar, we say Misha Nichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. That when we enter the month of Adar, our joy increases. And in with the story of Purim, we have celebrations. We have a few different kinds of celebrations, a few different events of celebrations in the Purim story. But there are two kinds of people celebrating in Purim, and it can teach us a lot about what meaningful or what meaningful celebration is, and what just simply is fun. So, meaningful celebration versus fun. So in the beginning of the Purim, in the beginning of the Megillah, we literally the very first paragraph we hear about Ahashverosh, the king of Persia, and how he celebrates. So it says, the king of Persia, in the third year of his reign, he made a feast for all his ministers. For many days, 180 days, he displayed the glorious wealth of his kingdom and the splendorous beauty of his majesty. And then when these days came to an end, the king made a 7-day feast for all the people, blah, 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 blah. All these things, celebrations, displaying the wealth of the kingdom. Okay, fine. Sounds nice. But the way that the Jewish people celebrate is different. And we skip to the end. After, all the events of the Purim story have happened, the Jewish people were going to be destroyed by decree of Haman, the minister within the kingdom. But then, Esther says, no, I am a Jew. And so Ahasuerus, the king, says, no, we're not going to do that anymore. And the Jewish people defeat the evil people who wanted to destroy them. Okay, we're very happy. Then, the end of the Purim story. Now, Mordechai recorded the events, all the events that I just said. They recorded all these events, and the Jews were now obligated, Jews near and far are now obligated to celebrate the 14th and 15th of the month of Adar, remembering the days when the month of Adar was transformed from one of sorrow to joy, from mourning to festivity, and to make these days feasting, make these days be ones of feasting, rejoicing, sending food portions to one another, and giving gifts to the poor. Okay. This is the way that the Jewish people celebrate a victory by giving gifts to one another within your immediate circle. This is the mitzvah of mishloach manot, of sending portions to people, where you give two ready-to-eat items to at least two people. And then the second thing of giving gifts to the poor, matanot le'avyonim, gifts to the poor. So the people in your direct circle, mishloach manot, and then people outside of your circle, matanot le'avyonim. Not displaying your wealth for people. This is giving to those who you care about, going and physically having a human connection with people, and then giving to people who are outside of your circle. This is the way to have meaningful celebration. That is why Purim is different than these celebrations that Ahasuerus was having in his kingdom, and that's why the Jewish people are different in this way, and that's why it was so against our nature that the Jewish people in the desert built this golden calf, built this idol. This is not meaningful. This is superficial. This is the way of Egypt, the way of materialism. This is not the Jewish way, and we're reminded of this every year when we read the story of the Chet HaEgel, the sin of the golden calf, and of course the holiday of when we celebrate the holiday of Purim. So I hope you're able to take these ideas with you. Have a beautiful rest of your Purim weekend. Shabbat shalom, and God willing, I'll see you all next week.